Luke chapter 14. Tonight is not your typical Sunday night message, of course. I'm going to be going over the trip, but I can't be up here on a Sunday night without reading some scripture and without prayer, of course, and we will do both. But Luke chapter 14. Luke chapter 14. And for those that are able, I'm going to ask that you stand with me as we honor the Word of God together. Luke 14, look at verse 16. Luke 14:16 says, Then said he unto him, A certain man made a great supper and bade many, and sent his servant at supper time to say that were bidden, Come, for all things are now ready. And they all with one consent began to make excuses. The first said unto him, I have bought a piece of ground, and I must needs go and see it. I pray thee have me excused. Another said, I have bought 5 yoke of oxen, I go to prove them, I pray thee have me excused. Another said, I have married a wife, and therefore I cannot come. So that servant came and showed his lord these things. And the master of the house, being angry, said to his servant, Go out quickly into the streets and lanes of the city, and bring hither the poor, and the maimed, and the halt, and the blind. And the servant said, Lord, it is done as thou hast commanded, and yet there is room. And the Lord said unto the servant, Now, before I read this, aren't you glad there's room? There's room. And the Lord said unto the servant, Go out in the highways and hedges, and compel them to come in, that my house may be filled. I learned a lot on this trip, and one of those things is that the Philippine preachers there, these pastors, they care about people getting saved. And they go out in the highways and the hedges. And per capita right now, they're actually sending more missionaries out than the United States. They're sending missionaries. They don't have the finances that we have, but a lot of times they're using the money that we send to them to support missionaries going all over the place. They are going out, though, in the highways and the hedges, and they are compelling people to come. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. It's good to have Brother Miles Carter and his wife with us. Brother Miles, would you mind leading us in prayer? Yes.
Well, I thank you for the foreign mission field, but I do pray you save America, Lord. Thank you for Pastor Brett being willing to travel overseas and see the work there. I pray, God, you bless this church, bless this pastor, and bless these folks that have come tonight.
Amen. Thank you. You may be seated. Well, this is going to be difficult in some ways. I'm used to preaching. You know that. I don't really like standing up. I went to the statewide meeting last week, and my job as moderator of this fellowship down here, I have to go up and announce, who the preacher is and talk about who our representative is. I did that last year for Brother Cloud. This year I did it for Rick Owens up there in Albany. And I told Brother Owens, and I mean this, I got to go up there for about a minute and do that part. I'd rather go preach for 45 minutes or 30 minutes than to do that for just 1 minute. Standing up here like this is not natural for me. Preaching is a lot more natural. So I ask that you pray for me. Now, speaking of getting out of your comfort zone, that is what I did. And going to the Philippines, I am not a traveler. I'm not. Here in the passage that we read, we have people making excuses of why they can't. A certain man made a great supper and bade many, but remember they had excuse, as verse 18 says. They have excuses why they can't come to supper. Well, when it comes to serving God as believers, a lot of times we come up with some excuses. And we don't want to get out of our comfort zone. And I'm constantly telling us to get out of our comfort zone. Well, if I can't get out of my comfort zone, how can I tell you to get out of your comfort zone? See, I'm not a traveler. I've never done that. My brother and his family are here with us. He knew what I was doing tonight. He don't like to hear me preach, but he likes to come to something like this. But they're here with us. And my brother right here, he is a world traveler. When I was married, he before he got married and had the family life, he lived in Thailand for a while. He lived in Alaska, lived out in California. He's bounced all over the place. Been to Africa as well, if I remember right. And I'm glad they're here. My brother is my best friend. He is. Besides my wife, my brother is my best friend. And there's so much about him that I wish I could be. That tells you what I think of my brother over here and how much I love him, how much I care about him, and I'm so glad that he's here tonight. And I get to make fun of him maybe as we continue on, and that's always fun too. But I had to go on this trip for several reasons, and one of them was to get out of my comfort zone. And I don't mind airports. I don't like airplanes. I would end up being on 10 different airplanes. Supposed to be 11, but I'll talk about why that didn't happen towards the end. But my first flight, I left Tallahassee around 7:30 on Wednesday morning, March the 18th, and about an hour trip to Atlanta. That's when I met with the others. I met with the Pangles, which you've met before. They've been here, and then the Agans, Dr. Mark Agan, his wife, Sister Beth, and I know that sounded right. And these are just, I've met them years before through Dr. Beckham. We were both on the board at the same time of Intercessor Ministries, but we never really had much contact with one another. But we spent weeks together. It was even strange in leaving them at the end. I was so used to being around them. And they are two of the finest people I have ever been around. Godly people, humble people. One day I would love to have Dr. Mark Agan to come and preach to this church. I mentioned it to him. He says he's willing to come. And so I would love to have him here at some point. We met up in Atlanta. We flew from there on a nearly 16-hour flight to Seoul, South Korea. That was the longest I'd ever been on a plane. And it was a long trip. I was thankful when it was over. We did fly over. Go on to the next slide. We did fly over Alaska. That middle picture is of, I believe that's Seoul right there. I didn't take these pictures. This is Brother Pangle or Sister Pangle doing that. I don't do window seats. I do aisle seats. And the whole time we were flying, it was daylight outside, but we wouldn't have known it. They require us to keep the shut. Do you think it's dark? Every now and then someone will open up just so they can peek out, and it's like, oh, I can't see. But yeah, we flew over Alaska, and 16-hour flight into Seoul, South Korea. We were there for a couple hours, and then we hopped on another plane that lasted about 3 or 4 hours to Manila. Right away, I knew in Manila that I was, you can go on to the next one if you want to, I knew I was in a different world. Atlanta's the busiest airport in the world. I had just been there the day before, but Manila is just, it's chaos. It's just plain out chaos. And we went outside to get a ride to our hotel. And this is when I got right with God. I want you all to know that. I think even maybe I got saved a couple of times out there. But it took us a little while. We left here like Wednesday morning. We landed there Thursday night around 10:30. Thursday night their time. And we got, trying to get a vehicle, and getting our currency exchange, all that took a while. We finally get a vehicle just to take us to the hotel. And we got to the hotel around midnight. And not too soon for me. I was wore out, but that ride woke me up. That's when I got right with God. I mean, I'm in the front seat, and Brother Cloud, I started praying. This guy was in and out. We were bouncing on it. There's scooters everywhere. They're bouncing all around us. You got these two vehicles right here. You don't think anything can fit between? Scooters can. And they do, and they're just everywhere. We finally get to the hotel, went to sleep, went to bed probably around 12:30, 1 o'clock that night, and woke up early that next day. Why? Because we had to hop on a plane. We hopped on a plane. We're on the island that we're on is Luzon. And let's see there's Korean Airlines. There's Brother Pang. Let's just taking a picture right before we're leaving. And then that's Brother Mark Agan over there. We're eating. We're in the airport, I think in Korea. We're eating Krispy Kreme, and it was good. But anyway, going to the next one. So we hop on a plane to go to the northern part of the island of Luzon. Luzon is the large island in the Philippines. The Philippines is made up of 7,641 islands. A lot of islands. The largest is Luzon. Manila is more towards the south of it. That's the main city. Around 20 million people live in the area of Manila. Well, we hopped on a plane about an hour north to the city of Luang. And, being up there, you really felt island life there. I mean, we landed, and it wasn't, you walk through the regular thing to get in the airport. This is a really small airport. They brought the ladder thing out there to us. We step out. And the wind is blowing, the palm trees. I just wish I had some sunglasses. I look really cool coming off that plane with some sunglasses, I'm telling you. But it was great. And then it was really quick, though. We got in the airport. We had two vans waiting on us. And the two vans was driven by some of the pastors that were there. Two in particular was Brother Francis Landingen. He was actually here with us about 2 years ago. He's a Filipino, but he's a missionary to Cambodia. And then the other pastor was Brother Anthony Yamat. He's a Filipino. He's a pastor there in Luzon. The last church we would go to would be his. Well, here when we landed in Luang, these two men were with us. They would be with us the rest of the time. They were our guides. They were our bodyguards. They were a comfort to us. And these are two of the finest men that I have ever met in my life. I mean, my godly men, servants. They are such servants. Some of you have grabbed those mango treats. They're really good, you know. That was Brother Francis. You know me, I ain't bought them, you know. Yeah, Brother Francis, though, he got them in Cebu, and we'll talk about that in a second. He bought me 25 of them to bring back to the church. That's just the kind of person that he is. And I want to talk more about them, maybe tonight, but also another time. But two great men. But anyway, they pick us up, and then we travel about 20 or 30 minutes from the airport to the missions banquet there in Luang. This is the first meeting that I would go to. So I got in the night before, hopped on a plane that morning, fly to Luang. We don't go to a hotel or anything. We go straight to this. They're having the meeting already, and there's a table set up for us. So we've got to walk through. You know, I love people staring at me. You know, got to walk through, sit down at the table, and they say, Brother Brett, you're going to be the first speaker. You're going to preach in about 5 or 10 minutes. Okay. Just throw me right in. And so that's me. I get up there, and I was able to preach to these pastors. It was good. There was others that got to speak as well. It was a very, very big moment for Dr. Agin. Dr. Agin was given something. This was the third National Heartbeat Missions International Conference. Third one they've had. And the host pastor for this was greatly influenced by Dr. Agin's dad. And Dr. Agin didn't even know this. He didn't know any of this was going to happen. And so it was a really big moment from him. So anyway, we go from there. We end up at a mall. The malls are a big deal in the Philippines. You know, the malls here are dying. They're really big deal, and they're huge. They're 4 stories. And they're packed. They're loaded with people. We went to a mall. We ate there. And in these malls, you've got American restaurants. You've got, Texas Roadhouse, you've got Fridays, you've got Dairy Queen, Krispy Kreme, McDonald's. They serve fried chicken out of McDonald's over there. Yeah, it's not just the burgers and the McNuggets, it's straight up fried chicken. And so anyway, we went there, we checked in at the hotel there, which was at Fort El Condra, and it's right there on the South China Sea, which was really cool. But anyway, the next day, go on to the next slide. Keep going, let's do another one. All right, this is Fort El Condra where we stayed. It's right there on the South China Sea. So anytime I hear about the South China Sea now, I can say that I've seen it, which is really cool. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, let's go to the next one. All right. Oh, yeah. All right. You know, I'm not a ceremony guy. I'm not a put me out in front of people kind of guy. It's not my thing. The next day was the big conference, and it was at an arena. There's armed guards all over the place just directing traffic. So we go in there. There's more than 1,000 pastors and their wives at this. I'm not a speaker at this, but I am there, and I'm having to wear that. That's out there on the table right now. And you see me. That's the Agins behind me. I'm having to walk down this aisle as they say who I am. And everyone is, waving at me and clapping for me and all these things. And I am. That was hard. But it was really good. The singing was amazing. There was one choir that I don't have the video on here, but that choir, I'll tell you what, go to the next picture. You can kind of, here is that top part right there. I don't know how many people were in that choir. It took them 10 to 15 minutes just to get up there. It was a great meeting, though. It was a wonderful meeting. Brother Pangle down there, he's getting picture with some of the soldiers that are out there. They're keeping the peace, making sure we get across without getting run over from the parking lot to the building. And so anyway, it was a good meeting. That was on that Saturday. The next day, we got on a plane again, and we traveled back to Manila. We land in Manila, and then we hop into a vehicle, and we head north. We're going to head 2 hours north. On the way, we stopped by a Jollibee. Has anybody eaten at a Jollibee? There are actually, I think there's some in the United States, maybe in California, something like that. Jollibee is like their main fast food. So we quickly got some fast food as we went to the city of Concepcion. Concepcion is a Catholic stronghold. I mean, even the name right there, it is a lot of Catholics, there. But we would get there, and I and Dr. Mark Agin would preach at Good Shepherd Baptist Church for Brother Edsel. Go to the next one. This is Good Shepherd Baptist Church. Right there, you see me, I'm up there preaching. The pastor is Brother Edsel. He's named after like the Ford, he thinks. Is it spelled like that? He doesn't know why, but why he's named after the old Ford Edsel. But this is a man that never quit smiling. He was so happy we were there. I mean, he was so happy and just never stopped smiling. And this was my first taste of how many of the Filipinos live. This is the sanctuary, immaculate. I mean, just immaculate. But if you go through this door, through this curtain, you get to actually where they live. They live attached to the place. And, yeah, that's all I'll say. Yeah. And I learned that you flush toilets different in the Philippines many times. Because a lot of places you go to, they don't have the running water like we do. Here at the Trinity Baptist Church, I ought to feel pretty normal, to be honest with you. But they have a bucket. They'll have like a faucet and a bucket and a little pail in the bucket next to the commode. And if that bucket runs low, then you turn the water on. Because what you do when you use the commode, you take it and you put water down to help flush it out. So what happens is water gets kind of all over the floor in that environment. But this family, and they were something else. And on this night, me and Dr. Mark Agin preached. This was the first person that got saved on our trip. I'm thankful it wasn't the last. But it's always good when someone gets saved. And, the earlier meetings was all for pastors. This was our first time at a church service where we could preach. And it was a blessing. So we're up there at Concepcion. We drive 2 hours back to Manila. We got back to the hotel probably around midnight again. Went to bed as quickly as we could because the next day we got to hop on a plane. We had to even leave before breakfast was served at the hotel. Hopped on a plane and we flew to Negros. So going to the next one right there. Negros is another island. We went to the mall. This is the Rahirs. The Rahir family. This first one right here, for those that can see, that's Nelson Rahir. And he pastors Berean Bible Baptist Church there in Canleon City on the island of Negros. And they picked us up at the airport, and we went to Bacolod. That's where the airport is on Negros. Went to the mall, ate lunch with them, and then we drove 2 hours to Canleon City. And this is where I saw a volcano for the first time. I think we may have a picture of that in a few minutes. But once we got to Canleon, there's no breaks, folks. I am constantly on the move. I'm either in a plane, I'm either in a vehicle, I'm sitting in an airport, I'm on a church pew, or I'm standing behind a pulpit. That's pretty much how my trip went, especially that first week and a half. But anyway, we go straight from the airport to the mall, from the mall to a dedication service for the church where Jerry Rahir pastors. Brother Jerry is Brother Nelson's brother. And going to the next picture. This building right here, this is Pastor Rahir's church, Jerry Rahir's church. Brother Mark's church there in North Carolina, they built this building for them, so he preached the dedication service. And Brother Jerry, he's a Facebook friend now. I got a lot of Facebook friends now. A lot of Facebook friends. I like doubled. And he messages me about every day. He messaged me, I think it was yesterday, this morning, something like that. And he's such a blessing. Go to the next one. All of these pictures right here at that church, and we have this dedication service. Going to the next one. They're singing. I get to have a part in the service as well. Go to the next one. Of course, Brother Pango cheesing it up. And then let's go to the next picture. All right. They have some food for us outside, right there. I'm eating a banana right now. Those bananas are good. I mean, if you can import those bananas from the Philippines, they're smaller and they're really sweet tasting. But it was a good service there. Some people were saved at this dedication service as well. And so we thank God for that. From there, we go on to check in at our hotel there in Canleon City. Canleon City was the hardest in some ways. Not as modern, I know that some of the guys were telling me they wish they could have a McDonald's there. They wish they could have a Jollibee or something like that. If they want to go get something like that, they have to drive, a ways to get there. But anyway, it was here that I got to see the volcano. I think that might be the next picture. Yeah. This is from where we stayed, the motel. I took this picture because it had cleared up, and I talked about that this morning. And is a little cloud just kind of on top. Well, I thought that was a cloud. That's actually a little smoke coming out of it. And I go back to the room, and all of a sudden the alerts start going off, letting us know that the volcano's doing something. And so I went back out there again, and so I could see more of what was going on with that. About a week or two before we got there, the volcano erupted. There was lava. There was ash on some of the buildings, on a lot of the buildings as you come in, and it was something to see. Go on to the next one. This is, riding around Canleon. We're in the van. The little boy right there, that's Brother Mark, but the little boy right there, his name is 30. And that's his kind of name. He's the third is what he is. The dad is Nelson Rahir, and then his son, one of his sons is JR, which is for junior. Well, this is JR's son, 30. And he's a handful. I'm going to tell you right that. He's about seatbelts. There ain't no seatbelts in the Philippines. He's just bouncing around from one end of that van to the other. And you see that vehicle right there. You can't really pack anyone else on there, but I'm sure they would try. All right, let's go to the next one. The next day, there in Canleon at Berean Bible Baptist Church was a pastors' conference, and I got to preach twice at the conference, which is a real blessing. And the preachers, they were so excited, all these different pastors that were there. They actually had been at a few of them had been up there at the meeting in Luong, but they were there again. They came up to me and said, "Hey, preacher, pastor, I'm so glad to see you again." And they were given bags of rice, they were given Schofield Bibles, and it made their day. The ladies were given, baskets of fruit, and it was wonderful. Go to the next slide. Here they come getting their rice. That's me getting my statue. And then the next one, see what it is. Okay, here we go. All right, we had the pastors' conference that one day. This is now the next day, March the 25th. We now go up the volcano. And the reason why is because Brother Nelson, he pastors a church down there in Canleon City, but there's two works up there that they've started on the northern part, on the volcano. One of them is right here. This is also called Berean Bible Baptist Church. And his son, which is in this picture right here, J.R. Rahir pastors this church. Now, Brother J.R. on a Sunday is very busy. In the morning, he's up there. He preaches, that church. Then when he gets done with that service, he travels down. He's his dad's assistant pastor down there in the Canleon. It takes about 30 minutes. He goes down there. He leads the music. And then when he gets done there, he goes to another church on the volcano where he pastors that church too, and he preaches at that one. I can't remember if we got any pictures of that one or not, but right here, this church though, the one he's standing in front of, I'm there. That's his wife Frail. That's him, and that's their son 30. Our church, the church they're capable of having electricity, but they don't have the hookup. They don't have the money to do it. Well, they do now, because our church paid for the electrical hookup so they could have electricity. And it's not just so they can have lights, so they can be able to hook up fans. It's the Philippines, it's hot. And so this will make their services where it can be a little cooler. They can hook up fans around the room, and it can be better. And some people will come just for the fans. So they come for that. They hear the gospel. They get saved. They get called to preach. They go start a church somewhere, and it all kind of got going because we just gave them some money to help, to pay for electricity. It's a minor thing to us, but it's a really big deal to them. Now over here, it was Brother J.R. and Frail's day. We paid for the electricity in that building. Well, then we go to the other work to see it. And the other work, we don't have a picture of it, but you see this building over here to the left where we're all kind of standing? That's a house that was for sale about two houses down from that other work. And Brother Pengel wanted to know how much that house cost. He found out, and he bought it right there on the spot. So Waterloo Baptist Church just bought J.R. and Frail a house. And so they got electricity and they got a house, and they were praying that God would give them a house. They didn't know anything like this was going to happen. And we look at the house, but they were so excited. Tears in their eyes, and they're going to make it something beautiful. And I believe they will. And it was just such a special time. We left there. We go to the Big Tree. Do we have pictures of that? We do. Okay, here, on the way, before we get to some other things, go back. On the left right there, that's rice in the road. I mean, there's rice. You know, they grow rice out there, but the way they dry it out is they put a tarp in the road, and then they put it over the tarp. And so you got to drive around it. And then you've got these flowers here. I especially took a picture of them for Brother Mike and Brother Max here, and y'all, that garnet and gold. You know, I took a picture of it for y'all, garnet and gold. And it's actually for medicinal use. You know, they kind of crush it together, and then they rub it on their skin, and it's supposed to help, you know, somehow. Go to the next one. This is a beautiful view right here. This is up on the volcano. I take this picture, and in the distance there's a channel right there, and in the further distance there's land. That land is the island of Cebu, where I'm going to go after we leave Negros. All right, let's go to the next one. This is the Big Tree. The Big Tree is 1,700 years old. There's a restaurant out there, and the whole time we're trying to eat, we're trying to stop the dogs from bothering us. What I learned in the Philippines is there's dogs everywhere. I mean, that hasn't always been the case, but that is the case now. There are dogs and cats everywhere, and the people love their dogs too. I mean, they're in the mall walking around, and their dogs are all wearing clothes and have diapers on. And now these dogs weren't like that. These dogs were just, there's plenty of just these kind of dogs around too, just looking for some crumbs to eat. But we ate there, and then from there, we go to back to the church for a Wednesday night service. We leave there. We drive an hour to San Carlo to eat. We come back. Brother Pangle's killing me. I'm just telling you. He's killing me in how we're moving around. At 11 o'clock that night on that Wednesday, we're having a question time for somebody we're going to ordain the next day. We're all wore out. I'm not even sure what I asked him, to be honest with you. But we had question time for him. That's Brother Tam. Tam, we're here. That's another of Nelson's sons. And we questioned him. He told me that was the most nervous he had ever been in his life. And I'm thinking, that was the tiredest I ever been in my life. It should have been pretty easy for you. None of us really feel like asking you any questions. Let's go to the next one. Next slide. Is this a video? All right, let's play this real quick. Okay. Land on it and see what it does. No, it's not moving. All right. We won't worry about it. What it is we're riding through, and that's a part of the rocks that I was talking about. Because of the typhoon, the landslides, the earthquake, the volcano, all those things that have hit that area, and I mentioned it this morning, all these rocks are in Canleon. And when I say rocks, yes, there's these little rocks, normal-sized rocks, but there's also boulders, and they're everywhere. And if anybody wants to really see what it looks like, just see me right after. I got videos on my phone, and I can show you. But anyway, after questioning Brother Tim that night, the next day, we get up early, and we head to Waterloo Baptist Church outside of Canleon. And this is a church that Waterloo Baptist over in Chula, Brother Pangle's church, they built for Brother Tam. And they started this church there. Brother Tam were here. And this is where we have the ordination service. There it is right there. And around 20 people got saved at this service. It was a big deal. It was a wonderful service. Go on to the next picture. Here we are up there. And I'm kind of down there more with the Filipinos. And usually what I tried to do when I was on this trip, I tried to stay with the Filipinos as much as I could because I felt really tall. Okay? I did. I was like, yeah, buddy, look at you down there. But it was a great time. I mean, I was the youngest guy that went. And here at Brother Nelson's sons, you got on this end right here, wearing the white, that's Brother Anthony. I mentioned him earlier. He pastors in Pandy, and he was one of our guys. And then you got Brother JR, Brother Tam, Brother Pangle, Brother Nelson, Brother Mark, then me, then Brother Jerry, and then Brother Francis down there at the end. And it was a good meeting there. Then once again, we hop in a vehicle. It's wearing me out talking about it. We hop in a vehicle and we drive 2 hours to the mall again to eat before we hop on a plane. What's the next slide? Well, I see what the next slide. Okay. All right, in this mall, they had all these characters walk around, and some of them, this big old pink one, some sort of Filipino cartoon, came up behind me, and so I got my picture taken. When we're sitting there, I see Luigi. Hey, Chase, I love Luigi. I saw Luigi, it's like, get your camera ready. I'm going. This is the only time I wanted my picture taken right here was with Luigi. All right, let's go to the next one. On the way to the airport, we stopped off on the side of the road. Negros is known for sugar cane. And so we stop off, and JR and Tam get out, and they get us some sugar cane, and so we start chewing on it. Right there next to it is something we got to pass by, which is not so pleasant, and that's a whole bunch of pigs. But that's common. You see these vehicles just all over the place, and so that's what life is like. The next one is us at the airport. We're leaving Canleon, and folks, it was difficult to leave Canleon. Philippines is a third world country, and I saw that more. I saw that more on Negros than I saw anywhere else. And I got real close to these people here in this place. Because the other places I was kind of bouncing from church to church. It was here. We spent time. We talked. We had conversations. And, I spent hours and hours with these people. And I didn't want to leave them, to be honest with you. I was going to miss them. And they had been through so much between the typhoons and the floods and all this and that. And it was hard to leave, but we had to leave. We had to hop on a plane, and we went to the island of Cebu. Now, I am thankful that this flight to Cebu was the shortest. And the reason why is because it was the worst. It was the worst flight I was on. It was only about 20 or 30 minutes, because these islands are next door to one another. So why is it the worst? Well, it was the smallest plane, for one thing. And another thing is I don't do window seats. I don't like window seats. I get claustrophobic. I like aisle seats. Well, for whatever reason, I got a window seat this time. So I'm over here in the window seat, and, the air is not working. It's blowing like warm air, which is just warm air. That's not fun. And then I see this guy walking down the aisle, and he's the biggest guy I'd ever seen on the plane. And I'm thinking, oh, Lord, no. No, Lord, no. If you love me, you won't do. Guess where he sits? Right here. Yeah, right here to me. So I'm squunched up over here in the corner. The only big Filipino over there. And I'm over in this corner. The air's not working. I can't breathe. I am pouring sweat. I was so stressed out by the time we landed. And it all hit me kind of hard. And for the next 2 days, it was rest days. And that's a good thing because I got sick. I don't think I'd eaten anything or anything. I was very careful. We couldn't drink the water. Couldn't use it like brushing your teeth even. You had to be kind of very careful with that kind of thing. And but I was sick for the next 2 days. Not throwing up, thank the Lord. But I just felt terrible. I was just having one of my episodes. When I get what hurts me more than anything is if I eat something spicy, or if I get really stressed. And I had kind of a mixture of both. And it was the great time for me to feel bad. These were our 2 rest days. And so I was able to rest. That was on that Friday and Saturday. On that Saturday, I almost left the hotel. I actually went as far as a ferry. The other part of the company, they went to an island called the island of Bohol. And they're known for their chocolate hills and their weird-looking monkeys. They have these monkeys there. They're called tarsiers. And they got these really big old eyes. And you got to be real quiet around them, because if you're not really quiet around them, they'll kill themselves. Yeah. I didn't really want that added pressure, to be honest with you. Out of all the animals in the animal kingdom, the monkey's my least favorite. So I was like, I don't need to go there. No, anyway, I wouldn't cause them to kill themselves for you PETA people out there. But anyway, I got on the ferry, and I'm feeling terrible. I'm feeling better than I was the day before, but I'm still feeling terrible. And I look over at Francis, and I said, Francis, can I get off this boat right now if I want to? And he looked at me kind of funny. He said, Pastor? And I said, I want to get off this boat. So can I get off this boat right now if I want to? We've not left yet. He says, yes. And I looked over at Brother Pangel and says, I'm out. I had to get out. I left the boat. I got a taxi back to the hotel, spent the rest of the day there. I just needed time to get better, and praise the Lord, I did. On that Sunday, I started feeling better as the day went on. We ended up going, hold on a second, this thing's messing up on me. We ended up going to Bible Baptist Church in Cebu City. Cebu Bible Baptist Church in Cebu City. The pastor's Kent Jasalva. This is the largest, and it is also the most influential church in the Philippines. And a lot of people got saved on that day. More than 100 people got saved. Let's go on. Let's get a here. That's the picture right there. Right there, there's a picture of a man sitting next to Brother Pangle. That's not Brother Ken. I really don't know who that is. And so, anyway, let's go on to the next one. This gives you an idea of the people at this place. A lot of people there. And they have a gym, and the gym was packed as well with overflow. So it's like I said, more than 100 people got saved. They just started coming forward, and all these workers come up. This church is so organized. They had all these workers, and they're just kind of taking them aside to different rooms, to Sunday school rooms, like that type of thing, and lead them to the Lord. So great day that night. Me and Dr. Agan went to a Gospel of Christ Baptist Church. Go to the next slide. And that is also in Cebu. The pastor is Frank Denisi. His dad and his mom is in that picture, as well as his wife. And congratulations to him and his wife right now. His wife just became an American citizen. And we were there on that Sunday night. He was telling me on Wednesday they were going to be flying out so she could come here and become an American citizen. And she's very nice. Brother Frank is an American citizen. He's born and raised in the United States. His dad is 100% Italian. His mom is 100% Filipino. I asked him, then, does that mean you're an Italiapino? And he said, yeah. But he's an American citizen. Actually lived in Georgia for a while, up there in Rossville in that area. But he pastors this church, very young church, a lot of young couples there. He's got a lot of energy. Go to the next slide, and we can see the church there. But he's a joy to be around. And I was feeling good on that Sunday night. I had gotten over my sickness, and I preached, and it was a really good meeting. No one got saved that night, but it was more of a just church members that were there. All right, let's go to the next one. Oh my! All right, meet the happiest church in the world. This is them. All right, we leave Cebu the next day. We hop on a plane, and we go back to Luzon. We go to the city of Manila, and we. Oh, is there a volume for this? That man's Felix right there. That's the next day. Our first day there, I wasn't used to this kind of behavior just yet. But we land in Manila, and we got to drive to Antipolo City. And it's all connected. You know, you don't ever leave Manila when you go to Antipolo City. So it's all connected. And I was told ahead of time this was the happiest church in the world. That they were going to be so excited when we come. And it was an interesting day, though. That morning, we get up to leave Cebu. Dr. Pangle's sick, and he's feeling terrible. Matter of fact, he's got to get a wheelchair to get on the airplane, a wheelchair to get off the airplane, a wheelchair into the hotel. He was supposed to be preaching that night at this church, at Covenant Baptist Church. And so he can't do it. And this is an evangelistic type of meeting. So guess who preaches? I do. And I knew the Lord, I knew it was going to happen. I knew the Lord was going to have me do it. Because when I see the way He is on that plane and everything, I'm like, oh goodness. I wasn't planning on preaching that night. I was going to preach the next day. So I'm getting I'm looking. And we get there, and the moment we pull up at this church, they're losing their minds. Matter of fact, they were kind of tame there. They were losing their minds. And we got to walk down these steps to get to the building, and they're like, oh, they're all trying to. They all want to shake my hand. I'm such a touchable person, you know that. Yeah, I think I've lost a lot of that now because I was just touched so many times that it's become natural to me. But the way the little kids do it is here, come here, John. I thought I asked him Bailey, but I don't know how scared you might be. That's my niece right there. Here, so. That's what they do. That's the way they show respect for their elders. So my hand touched a lot of foreheads. I mean, I just say, but so they do that. They do that, and then they got all these people in there. And I asked brother, the pastor is Brother Marlon Andal, and I asked him. I was like, "Do you have a lot of visitors?" He said, "We got a lot of visitors." I said, "How can you tell?" He says, "Well, look closely." And the way that the church members were dressed was a lot different than the way the other people were dressed. And where these people come from? They went out in the streets. This is a very young church. A lot of kids in this church, a lot of teenagers. And even the ones that are not teenagers look like teenagers. One of them was Brian. I asked him, I was like, how old are you? I was thinking he was 15. He's 29 years old. I mean, but they bring all these people in. Go to the next picture. This is me preaching that night at that meeting. All right. I don't know what you can see. I wish I had one of those little red laser pointers. This kid right here, I was watching him as he came in. And he was kind of playing around, joking around. During the preaching, I saw conviction come on him. I was just seeing it. And then he is one of 43 people that accepted Christ that night. He came forward. There he is again. This is his buddy right here, was kind of sitting close to him. There I am. But his buddy, he came forward to get saved, and he's just crying. You know, it was such a special thing. And what happened is these people, they just want to see people saved. That's why they're the happiest church around. You know, if you want to see people saved, you get happy. And that's what happened. And they went out and they just brought people in. And yes, they did give them rice. You know, that helped bring them in. But they found a way to get these people there. And it was, more than 40 people got saved that night. The next day, we returned there again for a pastor's conference. And that's what you saw earlier with them and Dr. Pangel. Go to the next, that's just going down those steps. And they're all lined up, trying to shake our hand and just... They're so happy that we're there. Go to the next one. This is us on stage. We eat up on stage. Yeah, once again, this is funny. I know, folks, I usually let y'all out, but I'm on a roll right now. I don't feel like quitting. So I'm up there on stage, and we're eating. This is my first night there. And all the other people, all the church people are down there eating. And I get done eating, and I see these two young boys. They're probably teenagers sitting by themselves. One of them seems like he's got a little problem. So God did some things to me in the Philippines. He changed me in some ways. And I needed it. I needed it. And so I felt the Holy Spirit just nudge me. And I go down and I sat with them. The moment I sit down, all these guys over here at this table, teenagers and those in their 20s, they all jump up with their plates and they come and sit right there next to me. And we just have a great time, together. And then when we got done eating, those kids, you don't have to tell them anything. Whether they are 12 or they're 25, you don't tell them anything. They all get up and they start to work. They get everything cleared up, gear, they get the chairs all set up. Workers. They have trained them to be workers. It was amazing. All right, the next day though, we do have that pastors' conference there. Brother Pangel's doing better. And I don't know why it happened to Dr. Pangel, but God wanted me to preach that night. And it was an encouragement to me. It was a blessing to me. And so we had Dr. Pangel and myself, Dr. Agin, preached at the conference on March the 31st there at Covenant Baptist. And then on April the 1st, the very next day again, we're on the road. We stop off here. This is a memorial in Manila. And it is the Manila American Center and Memorial. And I've got pictures, different pictures on my phone there. This is one of the only ones we have on the slideshow. The most immaculate area that I saw the entire time I was there. They keep this up. And on these huge walls, you see in the distance, that's Brother Pangel standing there. There's the American flag, actually. And then you see those buildings. On those walls, are the names of more than 50,000 American soldiers that fought during World War II for the Philippines. All the states that were involved, during that time, like the state of Georgia, the state of Florida, their seals are on the floor there. There's some indoor stuff. It was something else to see. It was. I'm trying to think. I won't call it. It was really something just to think about. It was something amazing. Something else that was there. Go to the next slide. To the left is a picture of Mary, huge picture. And that kind of sums up the Philippines for you in a lot of ways. Even in the airport on Negros, you had Mary standing on the earth. And Mary, if you read the scriptures, she's not perfect, folks. She needs to get saved like the rest of us. And she even mentions that in Luke chapter 1. And so you get a lot of that there. On that other side, is a church. That's early on. That was actually in Luong, but I took a picture of it because it's an old Catholic church, and it was just something to see. So anyway, we leave the memorial, and we drive 2 hours. We're always driving 2 hours somewhere, it seems like. We drive 2 hours to the city of Pandy. And Pandy, this is where Brother Anthony's church is. Go to the next slide. And so we're setting up there, getting ready for this meeting, this evangelistic meeting. And on this day, we all preached on this day, and more than 70 people came forward to get saved. And so that takes the total more than 309 professions of faith. And even if just one person got saved, that's enough. But like I said, there are 309 professions of faith. I don't know the heart. I'm not going to pretend to know the heart. But I would trust that, of course, if they came to be saved, the Lord will save them. And so it was a blessing. When this meeting ended, this was our last meeting, I am so tired. I am so wore out. There was such a feeling to come home after this meeting. I had been looking to this one for a while. Brother Anthony constantly would bring it to my mind. And he says, make sure you got something left from my meeting. And I said, brother, I will. If it kills me, I'm going to have something left in the tank for that meeting. Because he wanted to see people get saved. He wanted a big meeting. But there was such a feeling to come home. On the next day, I packed and prepped and rested. I was ready to go at like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock that morning, Thursday morning. The problem is I'm not leaving Thursday. I'm leaving Friday. And so I had the whole day to try to get through. And then we got the trip home. Unfortunately, the next day when I got up, I found out that I had a flight delay. And the flight delay was not the one to South Korea, but it was the one from South Korea back to the States. And so anyway, that's why I was supposed to be on 11 planes. I ended up being on 10 planes. Because when I got into Atlanta, my flight to Tallahassee had already left. And I caught a ride with the Pangles to Tifton. We were all scrunched in there. I couldn't get all my luggage. My luggage was going to go to Tallahassee. So I got in the vehicle with the Pangles and got over there into the Tifton area. It was around 1:30 in the morning, and Catherine, Natalie, and Jonathan came and picked me up, and got back home around 3:30 in the morning. Went to bed as fast as I could because at 6 a.m. I had to get back up to go meet my flight in Tallahassee. It's weird when you go meet your own flight, you know. But I had to go back to Tallahassee so I can get my luggage, and I got my luggage, and God bless. But it was hard leaving in some ways. I left something of myself there. I did. And I took a lot with me. And Brother Francis, Brother Anthony, it was very hard leaving them. Because those two men, I can't say enough, they mean so much to me right now. And how they were such a blessing to me. And the other as well. But I wanted to go on this trip for 3 reasons. I knew the Lord wanted me to, and that's always a very good reason. I wanted to go because I wanted to preach the gospel as well. And I got to do that. And a third reason is I wanted help. I wanted help. I wanted to get out of my comfort zone. Because it is only then that a person can truly rely on God. And I needed to do that. I needed to leave this church. I needed to leave my wife, my children. I needed to leave my home, my routine, my plans. I needed to leave. And God greatly blessed me for it. Will I go again? I hope so. I hope I go again. I have been invited to go in January to Cambodia and Vietnam. And this is that big conference, the Heartbeat International Conference that I got to speak at the banquet. Well, their 4th annual meeting will be in Cambodia this year. Brother Francis will be hosting it. And he has asked me to come to be one of the 3 keynote speakers. And it's like, wow. I want to go. I don't know if it's God's will yet. I got to pray about that. I ask that you pray about that. To go into Vietnam, I really feel like I got to pray about that one. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't know yet. I know the date has been set, and I know Brother Pangle's going, and we'll see. We'll see. But it's something I need to talk to the trustees about. Something I need to pray about. If I do decide to go, I want to see if I can do some sort of fundraising. It's not cheap to fly to the other side of the world, and so I'm going to see what I can do to kind of help out with that too. But I would love to go to the Philippines again to see Brother Edsel, Brother J.R., Brother Tim, Brother Nelson, Brother Frank, all these different ones, Brother Jerry. I had a great trip. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for letting me go. Thank y'all for praying for me. Thank y'all for not destroying the church before I got back. You know, and I wasn't worried about that. I wasn't worried about that. But I thank y'all. I think going on this trip will make me a better pastor. I hope so. I need to be a better pastor. I need to be a better preacher. I need to be a better pastor. And so I feel like this trip has helped me with that. And I hope that is seen over the next weeks, months, and years. All right. Well, I preached a lot longer than I normally